focus on one of our top stories this morning. The future of former Northwest Premier Supra Mahumapelo is said to be being discussed at a three-day ANC's National Executive Committee meeting in Tshwane. Several candidates are being mooted for his position. Another major talking point for the committee is expected to be the attacks on ANC members in KwaZulu-Natal. We are now joined by ENC's Xoli Mngambi, who's been tracking the ANC's NEC meeting for us and other political developments this morning. Xoli, good morning. Thanks for coming in so early on a Monday morning. Now, Supra Mahumapelo, let's just get that out of the way first before we focus on these political killings. The sense you've been getting over the weekend during this meeting, whatever is coming out, whatever your sources are telling you, is it on the agenda? Are they discussing it? Should we expect the NEC, after this has finished its meeting sometime today, to come out and say, okay, we've made a decision about the way forward regarding who will replace Supra in the Northwest as a premier?
Indeed, and a very good morning to you too. The issue of the Northwest, the replacement of Supra Mahumapelo is something that definitely has got to be on the agenda of that NEC, given what we were told by ANC officials, particularly at that press conference where Supra Mahumapelo resigned, because what we then were told subsequent to that was that the province, as expected, or as is tradition, is expected to submit 3 names from the province of the Northwest, and those 3 names will then be considered by the NEC as part of the people that may possibly replace Supra Mahumapelo. Very interesting this morning, some news reports coming in that all those 3 names may possibly have been rejected by the NEC, but we will need to get the full story from the briefing. Remember, the meeting continues today. It's a 3-day meeting, started Saturday, and it continues today.
Okay, that's when we're going to wait and see what happens there. Let's come back now to the political killings. Just a couple of weekends ago, Cyril Ramaphosa, as president of the ANC, was on the ground in KwaZulu-Natal following some political killings. There's some members of the ANC, and I think it was the same week, an IFP councillor was also killed in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal. Now we have another ANC member being killed this past weekend on Saturday in KwaZulu-Natal. And as we've just spoken to Samkele Maseko in Bombela and Mpumalanga, there was another killing of an MK Veteran Association member at an ANC Youth League conference. Now, you put all of this together, Cyril Ramaphosa saying on the ground, we will not allow KwaZulu-Natal to become the killing fields of South Africa, but the killings seemingly continuing.
The killings continue, Bradan. Let me spread this out in 3 strands. So let's start in Herigwala region. Remember that is the very region where the former Secretary General of the Youth League, Siniso Makaka, was killed in that area of Mzimkhulu. So this latest person to have been killed there comes from that region. It's part of the 3 problematic regions in KZN. So it is Herigwala, then it is Lower South Coast, where one of the people was killed, and also the Moses Mabhida region, which is where the president went just recently. Then you go to Mpumalanga. In Mpumalanga, for the longest time, I think this is one of the first few killings that have happened, therefore, in recent times. And in Mpumalanga, it's very interesting that it is a member of the MK-MVA that's been killed there, who was said to have been at a youth league conference providing some kind of security. That is what is being alleged. Remember, in the lead up to Nasrec, Bradan, there's a story I came with as a result of videos that had begun circulated, or that were circulated, of MK-MVA people shooting guns in the air. And I did that story and I asked, why do you do this? And they said, look, it's when we hark back to the days of the struggle when we used to fight the guerrilla warfare. This is how we remind ourselves when we are in a jovial mood. But this was condemned by the ANC because they were saying, you can't possibly act in this fashion because you're shooting these guns and you have children running around. But more importantly, the story then that also began to emerge was when the MK-MVA admitted themselves that they actually go to the conferences of the ANC or meetings of the ANC in particular to provide security. But at that time, the contentious issue was around that these people were somehow part of a particular faction especially in the lead up to the conference. And so there was a lot of animosity towards them being present at these meetings. And so that's where the issue was. And I wonder if this could, therefore, be part of that tension that we saw in the lead up.
I asked Samkele Maseke the same question before I let you go. I know you've got a busy morning ahead of you. Is the ANC doing enough as a party because these are intra-party killings? Okay, because Begitele, as a police minister, he said he was very concerned about the slow progress police are making in nailing down the people who are killing people, others in KwaZulu-Natal. That's a government work. That's a police work. I'm asking you about ANC itself. Are they doing enough as a party to make sure that their members remain disciplined, they don't resort to violence to resolve any political differences?
Then I want to think that the ANC speaks a lot on the issue, but in as far as doing something about it, I think the president was hailed when he went down physically to KZN, one of the affected regions there, and he spoke tough, and he seemed to be also giving direction in the way of government work now, police work, that has got to start giving results. I heard with interest, listening to Spamandla Goke, that you were speaking to earlier, when he was saying that the task team that has been investigating political killings at which was, by the way, put up or set up at the time, which was 2016, in the lead up to the August 2016 local government elections. That task team, it would appear that the police minister is not happy with its performance because there are no people being arrested. And so therefore, that's where the interest, my interest is, Bradan, as to what then is going to happen to that task team. As Spamandla alludes to, that Begitele is saying there might be an overhaul of that particular task team. We know that they expected to give a report to the President, Cyril Ramaphosa. In fact, that report was supposed to have been handed to him on Friday as part of that interministerial task team that is in the security.
I guess the sooner they do something really tangible, it's going to help us all, because as we get towards the elections in about 16 or 17 months' time next year, temperatures are bound to be very high.
And very importantly, Dan, I know we're out of time, but this is important to touch on. The ANC in that meeting of the NEC, importantly, it's got to decide whether or not the KZN provincial conference goes ahead this weekend amid these killings.